If you've ever wondered why love comes so easily to others but keeps slipping away from you, this video is for you. What if the problem isn't timing or luck, but the way love is being searched for? Because love doesn't respond to effort or longing. It responds to safety, self-worth, and emotional alignment. Have you ever noticed a strange paradox about love? That the moment you stop pursuing it with desperate intensity, the moment you stop scanning every room, refreshing every message, replaying every interaction in your mind, that is often the same moment love finds you. It almost feels unfair, like the universe has one rule for you and another for everyone else. But what if this isn't random? What if there is a psychological and energetic explanation for this pattern? Something that connects ancient wisdom, modern psychology, and the idea known as the law of attraction? To understand this paradox, why love seems to come when you stop looking for it, we need to look beneath the surface of willpower and desire into the deeper layers of the mind, belief, and emotional identity. At first glance, it might seem too simple to be profound. You just stop chasing and love appears. But the simplicity of the effect does not mean the mechanism behind it is shallow. In fact, it reveals something essential about how people navigate relationships, how the mind prioritizes experience, and how attraction really works. Let's begin with a fundamental psychological truth. Human beings have a built-in need to belong. A deep motivational force first clearly articulated in psychology by Abraham Maslow and others. Belongingness, the need to be loved, accepted, and connected to others, is one of our core psychological needs. This need drives us toward connection. It motivates us to reach out, to seek closeness, to make ourselves vulnerable. That need is neither superficial nor frivolous. It's embedded in how we experience ourselves in the world. But this same need, when overemphasized, can create anxiety, fear of rejection, and even attachment patterns that unintentionally block the very thing we want most. Now let's add another layer. The law of attraction, which suggests that the energy you hold, consciously and unconsciously, helps shape the experiences that enter your life. Traditionally, it's framed as like attracts like, meaning if you radiate positivity and confidence, you will attract positive experiences. But that framing alone misses something crucial. The subconscious mind doesn't attract based on what you say you want. It responds to what you feel you deserve, expect, and believe at the deepest level. Louise Hay, renowned author and one of the most influential voices in modern self-healing and manifestation teachings, pointed this out clearly when she said, "Love comes when we least expect it, when we are not looking for it." Hunting for love never brings the right partner. Love is never outside ourselves. Love is within us. Louise Hay didn't just encourage positive thinking. She emphasized deep inner work, self-acceptance, and transforming the hidden beliefs that shape our emotional reality. According to her, desires set direction, but the subconscious sets permission. If part of you still believes you are unworthy of lasting love, your nervous system will create emotional resistance, even if consciously you keep attracting love. So what does this have to do with stopping looking for love? It has everything to do with pressure. When you look for love with intense focus, your nervous system is on alert. There's anticipation, fear, hope, and often a quiet anxiety beneath it all. Psychologists studying attention and prioritization, including research on the brain's filtering mechanisms, show that what you purposefully focus your energy on, especially when it involves fear, longing, or threat, activates internal filters that constantly scan for confirmation of that fear or desire. In other words, the more you search for love externally, the more your brain prioritizes evidence that confirms lack rather than connection. This is not mystical, it is psychological. It's similar to how the brain filters for danger when you're anxious. It sees risk everywhere even if there is none. Or how, when you buy a new car, suddenly you start noticing that same model everywhere. Your brain is attuned to patterns matching the priority you've given them. So when you are actively hunting for love, part of your mind remains in a state of need, and that state sends signals far stronger than any wishful thought or positive affirmation. Let's bring Carl Jung into the picture. Jung, one of the deepest analysts of the human psyche, suggested that many of our relational patterns are shaped by unconscious mental structures and early emotional experiences. He believed that our psyche stores internal templates of attachment, formed through childhood bonds, past relationships, and emotional imprinting, that influence who we find attractive and how we relate to others. Mental Zen. These templates aren't visible to the conscious mind, but they shape our emotional reactions. They are part of the unconscious blueprint we project onto others. Jung also described how people often fall in love with their unconscious projections. When we encounter someone who seems to embody qualities we unconsciously desire or once longed for, we project these ideals onto them. We're not always responding to the actual person. We're responding to an inner pattern, a familiar emotional echo. So this is where the paradox deepens. When you're actively looking for love, much of that seeking is anchored in a conscious desire to fill a gap, to resolve longing, fear, or incompleteness. But those states tend to attract situations that reinforce the feeling of lack instead of healing it. Why? Because the unconscious mind sees what feels familiar, and familiar, even if painful, feels safe in a strange way. When you stop looking for love, something shifts. You are no longer chasing an external confirmation of worth. You begin to relax into your own life. You allow your nervous system to quietly drop the vigilance, the anxiety, the constant scanning for connection. This shift is not about giving up on desire. It's about releasing resistance, the emotional tension that comes with trying too hard. The effort to find love can create a kind of psychological pressure that actually pushes love away. Jung once wrote that people attract what reflects their inner psychological state. If there is a part of you that fears love, doubts it, or ties it to survival, the energy of that state will call forth experiences aligned with that fear. If instead you move into a place of inner acceptance, of wholeness without needing love to complete you, then your inner world changes. What your psyche signals to the world changes. And this shift, profound though it may be, is what manifests a different kind of attraction. Contrast this with the law of attraction as commonly understood. It's not about thinking positive thoughts. It's about aligning your emotional baseline with what you truly want. And love, real, mature, lasting connection, is not something that thrives on neediness. It is drawn to confidence, self-acceptance, safety, and emotional presence. There is another way psychology explains this. When your mind is preoccupied with finding something, it has less bandwidth to notice it when it's right in front of you. Looking for love creates a tunnel vision that filters out signals of genuine connection, because the brain is narrow in its priorities. Meanwhile, when your focus shifts away from romantic pursuit toward personal fulfillment, curiosity about life, growth, friendships, creative expression, joy, your attention opens. Your brain's filters relax. You start noticing opportunities you previously ignored. This ties back to what many spiritual teachers and manifestors notice but rarely explain. Love doesn't come because you stop caring. It comes because you heal the need for external validation. You stop seeking completion in another person's presence and instead recognize your own completeness. Louise Hay would say this is where true reception begins. The subconscious needs to feel safe and worthy before it aligns with the desire for a loving relationship. If there is self-criticism, fear of vulnerability, or deep-rooted beliefs that love is conditional, the subconscious never really signals openness. You may be saying, "I want love," while your internal narrative says, "I'm not safe to be loved," and the subconscious always wins. When you stop seeking externally and focus instead on inner safety, inner compassion, and self-acceptance, that internal narrative changes. Your nervous system begins to register that love is not a threat but a state you are capable of holding. That's when love arrives, not as a desperate rescue, but as a reflection of psychological alignment. There's also a practical social mechanism at play. When people are less anxious, less needy, less attached to a specific outcome, they behave more freely and authentically. People are drawn to emotional availability, not urgency. Wanting someone intensely signals neediness. Being open to connection without clinging signals confidence and presence. These states are not trivial, they change how others perceive you and how you interact with them. Psychological studies into attraction support this. Characteristics like emotional stability, confidence, and self-assurance are strong predictors of romantic interest. The happier someone is within themselves, the more likely they are to form fulfilling attachments. This is not because love rewards positivity, but because secure, grounded individuals create environments where healthy connections can form. The paradox of love comes when you stop seeking it is really a story about internal coherence. When your internal world stops demanding love as a lifeline and begins recognizing it as a reflection of completeness already present inside you, your reality reorganizes. Not because the universe suddenly decides to grant your wish, but because you have shifted into a state where the relational dynamics you were previously attracting no longer match your emotional frequency. And just as Carl Jung believed psychological wholeness changes the patterns of your life, this shift allows you to attract not just love, but the right form of love for your current stage of development. Love still arrives, but this time it's not chasing an echo of need. It's returning to someone who reflects your inner peace, your sense of worthiness, your capacity to be present and open. That is why love often comes when you stop looking for it. There is also an important aspect of this process that often goes unnoticed. Timing is not only external, it is internal. People tend to think that love arrives late or early because of circumstances, age, or chance. But from a psychological perspective, timing reflects readiness. Jung believed that the psyche opens itself to new experiences only when it has integrated the lessons of previous ones. Until then, it repeats. When you stop looking for love, you often enter a phase of inner consolidation. You are no longer urgently seeking affirmation through another person. You are reorganizing your values, your boundaries, and your sense of self. This phase can feel quiet, even lonely at times, but it is essential. It allows the unconscious to recalibrate what it considers acceptable, desirable, and safe. Louise Hay emphasized that self-love is not a reward that comes after external success or romantic fulfillment. It is the foundation that allows those experiences to occur in a healthy form. When self-love is missing, relationships are often used as substitutes for inner stability. They become ways to regulate self-worth, soothe anxiety, or avoid emotional emptiness. In that state, love feels urgent because it is tied to survival, not connection. Stopping the search for love does not mean closing your heart. It means removing love from the role of rescuer. It means allowing it to be an addition to your life, not the solution to its perceived deficiencies. This shift fundamentally changes the energy you bring into relationships. You are no longer asking another person to complete an unfinished inner narrative. From a Jungian perspective, this is a movement toward individuation. You are no longer fragmented between longing and fear, hope and doubt. You are becoming psychologically whole. And wholeness is deeply attractive, not in a superficial way, but because it signals emotional maturity and inner coherence. At this stage, love no longer needs to arrive dramatically. It often enters quietly, naturally, through shared experiences, mutual presence, and genuine curiosity. There is less obsession, less projection, and more clarity. You see the other person as they are, not as a symbol of what you are missing. This is why so many people later say, "I wasn't even looking when we met." What they are really saying is that they were no longer negotiating their worth through desire. Their nervous system was relaxed. Their unconscious expectations had shifted. They were no longer broadcasting lack. And when the inner state changes, the outer experience follows. Love does not come when you stop wanting it. It comes when you stop needing it to validate your existence. That is the quiet truth behind the paradox. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to like this video and subscribe for more gentle reminders of your inner power.